Welcome, everybody, to our explanation of Phinance.Gold. Our motto is real money is freedom, and I want to lay out a little bit of what the investment is. Please feel free to ask any questions and what it is that we're trying to do, because there are a great number of deep-seated problems that exist in our financial systems. And we believe that we've created a new kind of finance, thus the PHI, a new kind of finance where we can solve a lot of the problems that have plagued the financial system for, well, forever, really. And especially in our country right now, or with instability in currencies and inflation, we believe that we can address multiple problems all at once with one system. So let's get into a little bit about what we're dealing with here. First of all, we believe that all of the tools necessary to solve these problems already exist. The difference is that they're not being used for what they should be being used for. We have things like cryptocurrency, which is amazing, but people are often not using it the way that to its greatest advantage, to playing to its strengths. Same thing with gold. Love gold. I have some gold coins, but the gold coins I have in my bedroom aren't really a financial system. They're just gold coins. So how do you turn that into a full financial system that has all of the services that we need in order to run a 21st century economy, right? So what we're doing is we're reinventing the gold standard by combining each of these technologies in a way that allows us to play to their strengths. So there's a blockchain, right? But it's also gold, and it's also legal tender. So we've created the world's first legal tender gold on the blockchain. And we believe that by uniting these technologies, we can create one honest system of money that will have all of the benefits of a modern financial system and really conquer most of the drawbacks.
Good. I'll have the recording it though, so then I'll let you watch it. All right. I just told my lady,
okay.
we were just talking about this last week.
Yeah.
And moving some of our assets from stocks into into stuff like this. So I'm just letting her know what I'm doing, and then also we'll send her the recording when this is done.
Yeah, yeah, you bet. And that's one of the major problems, right? Is that we've all been told diversify, 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 right? In every situation, you're told to diversify, and yet here's the problem: almost all of our assets are denominated in dollars, which means we haven't diversified at all. We've basically put everything in one basket called the U.S. dollar, and we're trusting the Federal Reserve somehow not to mess it up. But unfortunately, that's not something we can always be confident that they're really going to follow through on.
No, you can be confident they're always going to devalue your monetary currency to pay their debts. So you can be 100% confident they're going to fuck you.
So real quick, if you don't mind me interjecting for a second,
please.
So just this morning I was listening to the radio, and what they were talking about this morning is financial talk. I'm sorry, am I talking over someone?
No, Dave, mute if you got someone in the room.
Okay. So anyways, what they were saying is that ever since the war with Ukraine started, they froze their assets and seized their assets. And that made all of the other superpowers trying to it kind of brought to light to everybody's eyes that they can just seize your power because it's fiat. They can seize your funds because it's fiat. Yeah. So now China and Russia and those guys are all trying to get out of the fiat systems and get away from the dollar bill and to get away from the euro and go into gold and silver. So everybody's trying to move out of that because they realize if even like blockchain, if it's not backed with gold and silver, then it's worthless. It's meaningless because they can seize it. But if it's backed with gold and silver, it'll hold a value. Even if it's like on like you were talking about before with a blockchain, if it's backed with the gold and silver, they can't mess with it.
Right. So, right. And we've got a couple of, and I can speak to this legally a little bit, that we actually have a whole lot of baked into our plan, right? Are a lot of things about how to make sure that it stays legal. So first of all, this is an explanation of our name. That's why it's the letter Phi, right? It's the golden proportion. We're going to explain why we believe this is a golden balance. First of all, like you said, they can't mess with it. Well, one of the main reasons that they can't mess with our system is because we use the gold dollar. The gold dollar is actually created by the US Mint. That means it's protected, it is legal tender, but it's not within the Federal Reserve System itself. It's constitutional gold. And that means that it's protected by law, but it's also a separate monetary system. It's called the dollar, but it's not just the paper dollar, it is the gold dollar. And because of that system, we believe that we can legally transact in legal tender in gold and actually get on the gold standard. The biggest problem has been that these gold coins have not been able to be used as a full financial system, but only used as an item, right? As a gold coin. But we believe that what we're going to be able to do is create financial services on that system, and thereby essentially we're piggybacking directly on the full faith and credit of the U.S. government in the U.S. minted system, but also the U.S. minted gold-backed system. Now that sounds a lot like a stablecoin to most people, right? We've got a blockchain, we've got an asset, but what we believe is that we are creating a system that is more than just a stablecoin. It is actual gold ownership. Now, most stablecoins, they are pegged to an asset. Most of them aren't redeemable, or if they are redeemable, they're only redeemable in
400-ounce bars.
Yeah, humongous gold bars or something like that. What we've done is that we are simply digitizing the ownership of gold dollars, right? So you can make a withdrawal where the gold is sent directly to your door. You can use it the same way the U.S. Treasury bonds are used as a reserve asset. It's what's called a tier one asset in financial things. So, for example, we couldn't just sell this as selling some gold coins, right? We are creating a financial instrument that can be used even by banks or any financial institution. And even better than that, it's not only for those institutions, it can be used peer-to-peer on a private payment processing network in any amount. Everything down to like a stick of gum you could pay for in this, because it goes out four decimal places from the unit.
6 decimal places.
6 decimal places.
We can actually go 6 decimal places in this.
Okay, so less than what the current value of 1 US cent, but in real gold, right? And that means also, of course, you could buy a house, or you could move millions of dollars in this, or financial institutions could move millions or hundreds of millions of dollars worth of assets quickly, efficiently, securely, in a way that gold hasn't been able to be used in that way before.
No, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good concept. I haven't heard this.
Right?
Yeah, so I mean, this is, sorry, just to interject for 1 second.
Stephen.
So like there are a lot of gold-backed ERC20 tokens out there. I don't know if you're familiar with what the ERC20 standard is, but essentially it's a tokenized asset on the blockchain. And, in order to follow the standard, you must have these, 5 or 6 methods on it so that exchanges can interact with it and all that. So, but it's very, very easy to create an ERC20 token. You could do it in 5-10 minutes. Like anybody could do it. So the
well,
value
maybe not just anybody. You're pretty smart
anybody
guy.
could do it. No, anybody could do it. Like literally anybody could go to a website that says ERC20 token creator, enter the details, and they can create a token. No problem. Yeah, it's crazy. But the value add here is in creating this. So this part of it is the monetary system aspect, where you have a token or some sort of currency that's backed by something of real value. And one of the innovations that we've put in place here for the ERC20 tokens is an auditing trail and a minting process that involves you must have an audit of an audit report of our vault holdings in order to mint the tokens. So there's a 1-to-1 correlation between the ERC20 token and the vaulted gold that we hold.
So I
just want to interject.
Let me interject. So this coin, it's the smallest gold coin minted by the U.S. Mint. It's 1/10 of an ounce of gold, and it is defined as 5 gold dollars because impressed on the coin is the legend $5. So what we're doing is these are our monetary asset. And
Okay.
it's redeemable, which means if you send us 5 of your digital tokens, 5 of those ERC tokens, you send those to our company's wallet, along with instructions on where to mail this coin, we'll do that. We will send the coin out. So you can freely redeem the currency, which is the digital tokens, for the actual money, which is the gold coins. And that's unique. As Steve said, there are other gold-backed cryptos, which shows the interest in gold backing, but none of them allow you to redeem those tokens for the underlying asset in a quantity that's meaningful to most people. You could send 430 PAX G tokens and say, give me my 400-ounce gold bar, and they'll do that. But what do you do with a gold bar that was worth $1 million? So we're actually recreating the original monetary system of
Right.
the
Right.
United States and other countries before we trapped ourselves in this unstable, fraudulent fiat currency system we're all in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
I'm a little confused though. So do you anticipate that people are going to want you to send them their little $5 gold pieces all the time? Like,
no, if
No, but
they don't
some
have
people might.
it's just the fact that you can do it is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Exactly.
exactly.
It's just saying that it's an honest, like that's an honest
Yeah.
exchange where like Rick said right now, it's all foo-foo. It's all just
Oh,
believed
it's
in.
fiat. Like, yeah, it's the shell
Yeah.
game. And
Yeah. Well, the difference between this and real currency is that he mentioned earlier, they get audited and they can be audited at any time and make sure that the gold that we have on the exchange is the gold that they have in the vaults.
and is that the SEC that audits?
I'm not sure who does that. Who does that?
No, we actually contract for that. But the idea is that with a third party saying your gold is really there, the main point is to think of it differently. Instead of thinking, oh, I own this digital asset that could be exchanged for a gold asset, I prefer to think of it as this is your digital receipt that proves your gold ownership. You actually own the gold itself.
Yeah.
And so there's no fractional reserving. There's no like pegging it to a value of an asset. It is actually just digital proof of your actual ownership of the physical gold.
Guess what, too? If people have self-directed IRAs, they can invest in this. And that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And you should be able to move your self-directed IRA directly into precious metals. And this, we believe, is simply the most secure way to hold those metals because they are independently vaulted, audited, and so forth, and proven and insured, so that you having this digital token on the PhiPay app is actually proof of your ownership for insurance and other purposes.
I just got goosebumps, so that means I'm done.
Nice.
I mean,
How do I do it?
We'll
Well,
redeem.
let him finish the pitch, but Dave, I knew you'd
Okay.
love this. But yeah, let him
But
finish
yes,
the pitch.
actually, we will show it to you because the app is already built.
The app is built. It is in the beta testing phase right now. So this is
I'll be
something.
your guinea pig.
Yeah, I would love. I was just gonna say we'll do a demo
Wait.
and I'll send you some of the test
Cool.
test stuff just so you can see how it works.
Yeah, I'll be your huckleberry.
But I'm the Swede, and I'm gonna send this to Brian and Kenneth. And
Oh no, this is the
everybody.
new currency. This is it.
Yeah, I was telling them that our guys will love it. I've just been busy as fuck, and so I haven't been able to talk to them for like 3 months.
Sure. But yeah, so we're going to walk you through the app, but it is more than an app. It's actually, the idea is to build a fully functional system for all economic uses. And I was shocked. Just even a couple of months ago, we were thinking about how do we exchange how do we deal with different exchanges, different cryptocurrencies, and things like that, and how do you get in and out of it? And Stephen has, in the last few months, as we're honing in the app for launch, which we're planning on launching in a month or two.
November 30th. Yep.
Yeah, really soon we're going to be able to launch this. And when we do, it's already to the point where I actually found it easier to use than Cash App. It's very simple. If you can figure out how to do Venmo or Cash App or PayPal, you can use this. If you can use Visa, you can use this. And I think that's important because a lot of us who are really passionate about money and freedom, we are willing to go an extra step so that we can have access to something better, because we understand the problem. But most people are just looking for convenience. And I think the beauty of the app is we've built it in such a way that it's actually just convenient. People may come to this even if they don't fully understand the value proposition of gold, or they don't fully understand the financial or economic implications of inflation. Yeah, with amongst us, that's we talk about that and we're passionate about it. But I think your everyday person, they don't think about what is a dollar, what is it worth, how is it valued. They just want convenience, they want security, they want efficiency. We can also offer that, and I believe that we can do it more securely and more quickly and more inexpensively than any of these other payment process systems.
And
That's
people are
epic.
concerned about inflation, which we obviously put the kibosh on. So
Yeah.
So I think this might be a good opportunity to do a quick demo of the application so you guys can see
Yeah.
kind of how it works, since that last slide was about Cash App and Venmo and all that. So I'm gonna I sent a link in the chat. It's app.finance.gold. It's in the Zoom chat. And if you go and visit it, you'll see a page that looks something like this. It'll say, "Welcome to the PhiPay app, your gateway into the honest money economy," and then a Get Started button.
Do you want to do the screen share for us?
Yeah, sorry, I just realized I was not.
So yeah,
not
you pop
sharing
up
the
your
screen
share, and we'll be able to see what you're doing.
All right, let's move this in here. Okay, so can everybody see my screen now?
yep.
I can.
All right, and then so I'll just do a quick rundown of how you can get started very quickly here. So typically, one of the most difficult things that I've noticed for adoption of blockchain applications, just interacting with smart contracts in general, has been the onboarding process. People have to be aware of something called a wallet. They have to know what the private keys are all about. They have to know what this cryptic 0x1234 address thing means and what it means to send something to someone else. They have to know how to manage their private key so that they don't get hacked, because typically when somebody says they got hacked on blockchain, it just means that they exposed their private key to someone else in a way that made it so they had access to their funds, because whoever owns the key is the owner of those funds and can transfer and do what they please with it. So that's been probably the most difficult thing to overcome, and that I feel like was one of the major value adds when I was doing the development work. Once I got that part figured out, it was such a better experience. It literally took 30 minutes before to onboard someone and explain everything step by step. Okay, go to this website, add this address, um, get some gas from the faucet, because like, what is gas? People don't even know what gas is on a network half of the time. So to pay the transaction costs of interacting with a blockchain, that's another big barrier to overcome. So there were multiple barriers to overcome, and so each of those have been what I've been focusing on for adoption of this particular application. So without further ado, I'll just go ahead and do a quick demo of what the onboarding experience can look like. And if you're following along on app.finance.gold, you can do the same thing. So basically, you just click this Get Started button. We have a pop-up menu that says, you can continue with Google, Facebook, Twitter, any of your other accounts, or just a straight up email. My preferred way at the moment is to go with the continue with Google, just because it's a very, very quick experience. So you just continue with Google here. I'm going to go ahead and continue with my Phinance.Gold account. And when you do this and you log in with your credentials, that creates a wallet for you under the hood. So if you actually look here, this I don't know if you can see it. I might have to zoom in just a little bit more. But this right here, this is an actual blockchain address that has been created using the credentials that I logged in with. And it is a self-custody wallet. So you actually own those private keys, you own those funds. It's not hosted on us, on our servers anywhere. This is all on the blockchain. And these tokens, these are PhiGold tokens. Each one of these represents a gold dollar. So if I had 5 PhiGold tokens, I could go to the redemption page and say, "Hey, send me my 10th ounce gold eagle."
Yep.
So that's kind of like the basics here. This is what you'll see here. And does anybody have has anybody logged in yet? Because we can go through this request payment flow and you can receive some. I would say do it from a phone, because it's just I spent some time doing the mobile workflow to make it look nice, like an app.
I went ahead and signed up.
Nice.
I'm right
Oh, you
now.
And
did? Okay.
everything's from the phone now anyway. I try to only
Yeah,
use my
exactly.
phone for everything.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Paul, one thing that you can do now is you can request payment. And when you click on that button, what'll happen is it'll pop up a little window. You say how much you want somebody to send you. Let's say that you want, $15 because they paid for lunch. That there's going to be a conversion here, and at the current exchange rate, which is based on the price of gold, that will be 0.2143.
Yep.
If you were a business and you were doing something in person, you could also calculate USD change for a partial payment in Phi, but it's just it's a slightly different flow, or not. It's not different, but it's just not what we need for this particular use case.
I'm
And
sorry,
then what
I
you'll
got a
do,
question for you real quick. So what if I'm
uh-huh.
requesting a payment, say, from you, Steve, but you don't have this? Can I still request a payment from you through this?
Yeah, you can still request the payment, and then so what'll happen? I can show you what'll happen next. So if I didn't have the correct balance, I just wouldn't be able to fulfill the request. It'd be like an invoice, and I'd be like, I can't do it. But that's where this partial payment could come in handy for you. So if the total amount was $22, but you only had, $15 worth, uh, then you could say, okay, well, you owe me $7, remainder in USD if that's what you have available.
Hmm.
So it just makes it just easier to calculate, because people don't think in terms of gold dollars yet.
Yeah.
So from your device, I'd love for you to follow along here and request a payment from me so I can send you some Gold.
Yeah.
This is all a sandbox instance, so it's not the real deal yet. I'm not actually sending you money, unfortunately, but in the I know uh, when we launch, all of that will go live.
So I did that and it created a QR code. I hit
Perfect. Yep.
request and it created a QR code.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and show everybody else what you went through here. So this is your wallet. Under the hood, we're using something called Taurus to make all this happen, so you don't have to download a separate extension. I confirm. It creates a QR payment code, but underneath it is also an option to to copy a payment code and send it directly via text, email, chat, whatever's available. But if you wanted to, you could just point your camera at it, and your camera has a QR code reader built in, as I think every smartphone does nowadays.
Yeah.
And you just click on the link that it comes up with, and it'll generate that payment code, or it'll take you to the payments page. So if you send it to me in the Zoom chat.
Okay, so how do I do that? It says copy this payment, right? Link to send. So I did that, copy that,
Yep.
and then what do you want me to do now that I've copied that?
Yeah, so if you're doing it from a computer, the same computer that we're doing Zoom, you could paste that into our meeting chat.
Oh, into the chat. Okay. So I click the chat and then oh, I see here. And then where's paste?
Yep. There we go.
Trying to go to the paste here. How do I paste this on here? Sorry, I'm not super techie.
Yeah, no worries. If you're on a Windows machine, you can do Control V. If you're on a Mac, you can do Command V, and that'll just paste it, whatever's in the clipboard.
Okay, so I'm on Windows. What was it? Control what?
Control V.
Control V. Okay, and then send. It did a huge link
Yep.
thing. That was
Yeah, so actually
okay.
all of the details of the transaction are in here, including your signature. So, and that's what makes this secure, is that in order for a transaction to be successful, you have to sign a transaction. Nobody can just keep on reusing it or take it. It has a nonce built in, meaning
So
you can
it's
only
like a
use it one
one-time
time.
use kind of thing.
Yes, exactly. So this is a one-time
Now,
use
how
for
is that
here.
for a reverse hacking or a reverse engineering so people can hack into you? Because there's all these problems with people hacking into stuff now.
They can't. So when they say hacking in a blockchain context, they're really talking about their private key being exposed. In this situation, a signature, and this is maybe going a little bit too in depth for cryptography and all that stuff, but A signature is basically a public value that you can use to confirm that somebody signed a transaction using their public key. So it's all public information. It's not something that they can just take from you. This is, they might see your address. And if you didn't want them to see your address, I mean, we're dealing with financial transactions on a blockchain. So like, that's maybe not the, the use case that you're looking for. Okay. However, this is the payment details page. So this is what you'll see when you when somebody sends you a confirmation link, or sorry, a payment link, and you want to fulfill it. We can confirm that this is your address. We can confirm this amount, and what you'll see here is a forwarding fee. This forwarding fee is part of what makes it so people don't have to be aware of what is called gas to pay for the transaction fees or transaction costs of a typical blockchain transaction.
So it costs 15, it's basically 10%, costs 10, 15.
Yeah. Well,
1%.
So
1%. I'm sorry, 1%. My bad.
Right. I was like, no, 10% would be insane. But 1% is what we've baked into the system at the moment. It's adjustable based on reception and how people want to use the system. But if you didn't want to pay the 1% transaction or forwarding fee that we have on our back end, you could pay the transaction with your own gas if you're an advanced user and you know how to fill up the tank, so to speak. So,
sure. Okay.
Question:
Why
is the forwarding fee tied to the amount of money? Because is it more work for the computer?
So the forwarding fee it's basically our service on the back end that's using our gas to pay for the transaction cost. So when you interact with a blockchain, every interaction with a smart contract requires you to have the appropriate amount of gas to execute that transaction. And most people aren't aware of that, and they don't know what that means or even how to do that. So, that's a huge barrier for entry for doing any kind of decentralized finance type applications. So by us managing that, they no longer have to think about it.
So for comparison, if you go to the grocery store and you pay for your $100 worth of groceries using your Visa or MasterCard or whatever, the Visa MasterCard company charges $3 to process the transaction. So they charge 3%, and the other $97 goes to your grocer. So that's how Visa and MasterCard make their money, is through transaction fees. So we're going to undercut that by 2/3. We'll charge 1% and see how the market likes that. And that's one of the two ways our company will make money, is through the transaction fees, which, as Steve mentioned, are adjustable. If for some reason people don't like the 1%, we could lower that, or if we could raise it. I mean, it just depends on what the market will bear, but we're out competing the major payment processors with a 1% transfer fee.
That brings me to another question. If I want to go and use this at a grocery store, can I use it at a grocery store? And if so, are they going to charge the grocery store that 3% plus the 1%?
No.
How's that all work?
Visa would not be involved. The merchant would have to accept the PhiGold tokens, just like you are going to accept the PhiGold tokens by initiating a payment request. There's nothing to do in this process with Visa or MasterCard or anything else. This is independent. So the merchant, instead of losing $3 out of every 100 on each transaction, will only cost $1. And for a company like a grocery store with a profit of 3.5%, they're giving 3% to the bank. If we come along and say, hey, we'll only take 1%, the merchant's going to go, wait a minute, for the same amount of work, I'm going to make $5.50 instead of $3.50 for my bottom line. He's going to like that. Okay.
How much effort is involved in putting together the system to receive payments through this system?
Well, the effort has already been done. I've been working on this for the past 2.5 years, and it wasn't until a couple of technologies emerged kind of at the right timings to where I was like, okay, I have all of the pieces that I need in order to create the system the way that I imagined it. So this is the result of a few years of work already.
Yeah, I understand that too. So, and then what Salesforce are you going to use to market to the vendors, because I've done this before, loosely. How are you going to route the basically the point of sale system? How do you get them to say, I'll take your currency? Now, I think
Right.
because it's cheaper, it should be super easy. But like,
Yeah.
what just off the cuff, like, are you going to have someone being like knocking doors? Is it phone calls? Like, how do you get them to adopt the system? Now,
So
I do understand. Second part, I do understand this is more of a way to hold assets, and I think we
That's
can
what
get
I was
into that
Oh,
because the way I was looking at it is more of a way to hold assets, and then when you can take those assets when you need to
more
to
liquid.
pay for things to be liquid.
so
I'd
another
like
I
to
love
invert that relationship, though. I think that there should be a way to both hold assets and improve the way that people transact with value.
right, which is what I like. But how would you roll that out just from on a boots level?
let me get
so
a sales point before Ben talks about how.
give me a chance.
Oh,
Yeah,
so the other sales point is if you're running a business, okay, and you're taking customers' money, you have to turn around and restock your inventory. And if inflation reaches the level where when you restock your inventory 2 or 4 weeks later, you have to pay significantly more wholesale price for what
no,
you're
that's a good point. That's a
selling,
very good point.
okay, then you're in a quandary because you then have to charge your customers retail now the price to preserve your margin a month later. And if
No,
it's
I understand. Yeah,
at 1% and your margin of profit is 3 or 4%, you're you're going to like taking payment in a money that is not devaluing at that rate. So that's a second selling point for merchants as to how we reach those merchants with this message. That's what Ben has been thinking about a lot.
Well, and really, when it comes down to it, those things happen more in a scenario where people are struggling with inflation, and this is easy to use. But how do we sell it? I did help put together the Goldback network. I worked for a company called Goldback that had the gold notes, and we got a couple thousand businesses signed up onto that network. It was a lot of boots on the ground because people had to be comfortable with it. And one of the
right.
reasons, though, I think that this is going to be easier is trying to introduce people to exchanging physical gold as cash. That had, I think, a higher bar for entry than this app is going to have. People are already used to using a lot of electronic transactions. And so, yes, we are looking at partnerships with, well, we're looking at partnerships with some governments as well and other businesses. Another thing that he hasn't shown you quite yet is that there's a system where you can even create, the same way you could request payment, you can actually create codes for payment directly so it's fully integrated into your retail system that we have set up. Which really blows my mind. Like you could have a label or a price tag that is the payment function, and then all you need is a smartphone, like most of us already have, and
Fine.
boom, you can pay on the spot.
I like
So
that. That's smart too.
so yeah,
Well,
there's some places like Sam's Club that have been toying with this idea that you could
Mhm.
just scan it as you put it in your cart, and then you already own it, and you just walk out.
well,
And
and
we
then the
actually have the
retailers,
ability to integrate with those kinds of systems.
the retailers store their money in the gold too, or whatever you want to call it, their value.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
then it's just the system.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly. So, to kind of go back to the payment process, I love the questions because they're actually like you're talking about the next step, which is, well, how do we integrate all of these payment processing functionalities with the
We do
existing
that.
ecosystem?
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. I love that. So one of the cool things is that there is an existing network of people who are very passionate about using gold as money. And that's, I mean, the whole gold back effort was about that. The Liberty Dollar effort was all about that. So there have been a lot of different iterations of this, but they've always been limited by locality. So, to transact with somebody, you have to be in person, and that's been kind of the biggest barrier for entry that I've seen so far from that ecosystem ever expanding beyond it. But the people who are into it are very enthusiastic about it. So there's an existing network of those people. I think that tapping into that is just a matter of posting in the right forums in a lot of cases, and that'll be a great way to kind of onboard people to this idea of digital gold ecosystems. So I'm going to continue on this, like how the payment process works, just so that we can get past the screen and I can show you some of the other features real quick. But so basically in the payment details here, I'm going to confirm the payment. We're submitting the transaction, seeing who it's going to, confirm it. And then our ecosystem, or sorry, our services on the back end are forwarding that um, through the blockchain. So we're actually using the Polygon blockchain at the moment. We're on the test net, but in November, hopefully on the 30th, that's the target date. That's when we're going to be moving over to the mainnet version of Polygon, and you'll start to see real value and real redemption of that token and real transfers and all that stuff. So real money will start changing hands at that point. So what you should see is if you refresh, oh, actually, I think it already sent because I'm at 2.9. I think it was at 3 before. So, Paul, on your side, you did receive the $15 worth of PhiGold token.
2.143 pi. And then, so then how's this going to affect me now that we've done this? And if I want to sign up or add money to this later, then how's what we just did? Is this going to just go away, or like how soon can I add money to my wallet? That type of thing.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So that's November 30th is that target date for when you can add real money to the wallet. I can show you one of the other features that I'm working on right now is so this is on my local host. So this is on my machine. So you get to see the cutting edge of what's about to come. So we'll log in with my Phinance account. So I think what you're asking is how do I onboard from the fiat system into this system? And that's where the swap comes in. So I'm going to make it look like the mobile view here. On the bottom left corner, you'll see Get Phi, and click on that. And here, the way that we have it set up currently is that USDC is going to be kind of the gateway into this ecosystem. USDC is a tokenized version of the fiat ecosystem. It's run by Circle CI, which is backed by Coinbase. They're very into compliance. It's one of the more stable coins out there. And so USDC is kind of our gateway. So if you click on Get USDC, a window will pop up here that allows you to use a credit card, debit card, PayPal, I think is also an option here. So you could exchange your USD for USDC through a product called MoonPay. And we have that directly integrated into the app so you can onboard. We'll continue here. And then you can go through the process of PayPal, debit card, etc. MoonPay has a system for managing Know Your Customer and all that stuff, so we don't have to be aware of it. We don't have to manage it. So once somebody has USDC in their account, the next step comes out here. So we've got current USDC balance is 697. We've got the exchange rate in the PhiGold. And then if I say I want $100, $100 worth of PhiGold tokens, then I would receive 1.428571 PhiGold. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase the PhiGold. I just confirm a second time here for the actual data. And then when I go back to the homepage, I see that my balance gets reflected with the new amount. So that's going to be the onboarding process for getting into the ecosystem from USD. So it'll be USD purchases USDC through the MoonPay app. Once you have USDC in your wallet, it's very easy to swap that for PhiGold tokens. That's how you get it.
And so
but you can also do a direct person.
Right. Someone like me was thinking, oh, that sounds complicated, even the way you said it. And yet I just watched you do it. And literally all I've got to do is hit a couple of buttons, put in my debit card number, bam. I can just transfer from my bank right into this.
Yep, exactly.
And you don't necessarily have to be crypto savvy. And that's one of the reasons why I think this will be an ease of use thing, is going to make this so much easier for people to get than for most people to buy Bitcoin or know how to do it.
Yeah. How about like XRP? Can you transfer XRP into PhiGold?
Not yet, but that would be an option here in the future. So getting PhiGold, maybe we have a desire to accumulate Bitcoin as well. That could be another option for this swap. But at the moment, it's just USDC, just because it's very, very easy to get a hold of. So the onboarding process is super, super simplified. yeah, typically, if you want to deal with the volatility of Bitcoin and all the other stuff that goes along with it, then you just kind of have to be more. You have to adjust the margins a little bit and adjust the exchange rate so that you're not losing value over
Right.
time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how you would onboard into the ecosystem here. And I think there was.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say one more thing about this is so this is a smart contract interaction. It's immutable, it's not reversible. And that's amazing for chargeback protection. So our system will actually have chargeback protection built in because it's a smart contract interaction once they're using USDC to get the Gold. And another part of that is that to interact with the smart contract, you would also have to be aware of gas, but that part of it has also been run through our backend service so that you don't have to use gas to get into the ecosystem, which has been another huge barrier. So I'll stop there and let you talk.
All right, so I've got two questions. You keep referring to gas, and that's basically what runs the system. Is gas an acronym for something, or is it just a
Oh,
term?
yeah. Gas is just it's a term. So in order to run a transaction on the blockchain, you need to pay the miners who maintain the blockchain a little tip. Basically, it's I would say the equivalent of putting a stamp on an envelope. So you send a transaction, which is an envelope, to the post office, and it doesn't have a stamp on it. They're like, you know, I need to get paid. So if you put a stamp on there, it shows that you're supporting them through the native token, which is called gas in most situations. You could call it, transaction fee, but gas is the most common thing.
Now, the second thing was so the whole reason we were originally bringing on Cade and Dave is you guys were looking for investors to invest in the company, correct?
Right.
So what do we get for investing, and how is that going to work out for us?
Yeah. So we have an investor page that we'll get to in just a moment here. There's one more thing I'd like to show you feature wise, and then I'll pass it back over to you guys on the Ben and Mark to do the pitch part.
Copy that.
All right. So one thing here is if you go to the bottom right, you'll see more, and if you're on that's if you're on the mobile view. If you're on the other view, you'd just see it on the left hand side. But essentially, the way that we connect a customer to a merchant is through this product's workflow. So I have a stick of gum here just as a point of demonstration to show that you can have something of very, very little monetary value and still be able to exchange using gold. And if you look at the product details, you hover over here. This is a downloadable QR code. So you could put this on the side of a can or groceries or whatever, and people can just go and scan as they go, pay for the groceries, and then leave. So a very, very quick way for somebody to interact with that. There's also the payment link, which can be assigned to a button if they have a website that they want to sell this product through. So we'll generate some HTML code that has the link embedded, and then they just click on it and they can get the products very, very quickly that way too. And then if your product is deactivated or you don't sell it anymore, you can deactivate the product. No big deal. Goes into the inactive section. You can create new products here. The main difference between a product and just a regular payment is that it has a unique product identifier, and that gets stored on the blockchain as a way for people to see that something was paid for. And so once somebody scans one of these product codes, you can go to your order setting if you're a merchant. This is synced from the blockchain, and you'll see, oh, okay, I have 2 pending orders. Maybe I need to fulfill those orders. And you have the transaction hash receipt here to demonstrate that this indeed was paid for. This is the Polygon scan tool so that you can see the receipt of the transaction. I'm gonna have to refresh. There we go. So you see all the details here, and then there are customer details as well, so you know where to ship it, who to talk to, all that stuff. So this is what connects everybody together within the ecosystem. So it's not just like, all right, you sent me money. All right, show me the receipt. Where is it? I can't see it. All that stuff goes away. So it's all connected. And then once somebody fulfills this order, you just update the status to shipped, refunded, returned, whatever it might be. And then if I go back to the orders page, you see that it's no longer pending. It's something that's been actioned. So that's it for the payment processing part of our pitch. I'll pass it back over to Ben and Mark for the other good stuff.
Thank you. I think I'm going to share my screen again, if you don't
Beautiful.
mind. So you've heard the vision of it, the point, the purpose, and you've heard the technicalities. How does it get put together? How can it be used by a business? How does it get used for private transactions? How can you use it as an investment? And I hope that you've seen that in spite of the fact we did a lot of explaining about how it works under the hood, you saw what it looks like on the road and have seen that it's actually fairly easy to drive. It's a lot easier to drive than other crypto projects, at least any of that I ever have. And so we are looking to invite you now, and of course your other clients, friends, and other associates to invest in it. Because so far, really, it is just the three of us and a few investors that have developed this system. What we need now is to have the full power to launch it and market it, as you were pointing out earlier, right? We need to be able to have a way to bring it to a larger audience. That's going to take some money. And so here's our offering. We are offering shares in the company. We are actually limited to 100 investors at first, at launch. And we're offering them at $10 per share up to 100,000 shares. That's basically a raise of $1 million to get it launched. And we are looking to hopefully place those investments with you or someone else sometime before our official launch in November. So this is time limited opportunity, but especially because we believe that this is really going to take off. And that then we're going to be able to go more public. We're going to be able to create a Delaware corporation instead of just an LLC that owns the technology, and that you would be there from the very beginning, essentially, with us. And we believe that we can command a share price dramatically larger than $10 per share at 1 million total shares fairly quickly, as soon as we get more people to use this. In fact, if we even just close a couple of the contracts that we're negotiating with potential customers, including government customers.
I was gonna say, I can see small countries with inflation, a lot of people wanting to use this. So I think your market's very vast. All this sounds great. Like you said, Dave and I do know, are friends with a lot of people that have money that invest. When I sent them the slides, it didn't come through, like they didn't understand, right?
Okay.
This has been much better. So I'm glad I'll be able to send them this exact thing. They're definitely they're going to want to look at, like, they always want to look at your numbers. They want to see who you are. And, but like $1 million capital raise for these guys too is not even really anything, right? So
sure.
To keep their attention has been a great effort of mine for my friend Brian to close like a $25 million deal with this. Basically, the new Xbox is gonna be like in real life Xbox company that we're partnering with to market. That I just spent 4 days with in Austin. Beautiful, smart engineering team, like out of our league. Like they know Bezos, cool. They know Musk. They built the first flying cars. Like they're insane. Like they have a robotic okra picking thing. Anyway, they're just a brilliant 45 group of humans that have done so many projects. They get outsourced to Amazon. Like they're amazing. But that's the kind of people that we're with. I think they'll like this. I think also because World War III is coming, like all the stuff that just happened this week. I think you'll get momentum. And like I said, the way you guys laid it out today is great. If we could get I'm going to send you something that we made with a robot. We did a whole lot of AI generation to create an 8-minute slide for this other thing called CloutForce. But I think we might even use you guys on CloutForce. That's a whole other thing because we wanted to have a currency that we could exchange in that wasn't tied to any national government, right? That's a worldwide currency. So this fits right into all the things that I've been trying to build. I think when we talked on the phone, I told you a little about that.
Yep. And I'm excited to do that.
To do what? To roll it out everywhere? Yeah.
Well, I mean, for goodness sakes, that sounds to me like a great client to have, right? This is a monetary system. It should be accessible to everybody, every project, anywhere. And yeah, I think it should be a stable way for you to do your transactions on that project.
Yeah, and like you said, and that's what the most important thing as things develop in the world. Everyone's going to need to have secured assets, and it's very hard, like
Yep.
you said, to there's basically even everything besides Bitcoin is still a fiat currency because it can be demonetized at the leisure. You can
Yep.
have more. I mean, yeah. If you really understand that there's no safety in anything else because they can always shift it for their own good, and change the value of it.
I got a quick question. Something you said, and then something I'm reading.
Mm-hmm.
You said you're maximizing them at 1,000 shares.
100,000 out of 1 million shares, 10% of the company is what we're offering for sale
Okay.
right now.
No. But I thought you said that the most they could buy was 1,000 shares at $10 a share, which is $1 million. But
No,
on
it says a
here,
minimum of
it's
1,000 shares.
I was reading that and I said a minimum. So I was like, maybe I heard him wrong. Maybe he said it wrong. I just wanted to clarify that. So
Gotcha. Yes. So there's 100,000 shares for sale, but you have to buy them at least 1,000 of them.
copy that. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, the goal, of
So
course,
is your
I
total
recognize
cap?
that
Yeah,
this
what's your
is fairly low price, right? But we believe that we cannot fully launch without somebody stepping in and saying, I want in early. I believe that share price will go up dramatically once we do launch.
but your total cap raise is 1 million, or what does your total cap need?
That the 1 million are the total number of shares in the company that can be issued ever.
Okay, gotcha.
This is to prevent
So
dilution.
okay, gotcha. Yes, I understand.
Right.
I just want
So
to
if
make
you
sure too,
buy
because when I talk
10%
to
of
the
our
guys,
company for $1 million now, you will own 10% of the company no matter what the company's worth later. It will still be 10%.
awesome. Yeah, that's what I thought I heard. So that's great.
Awesome.
Did I hear that?
And so that's the invitation. And we believe that it's a golden opportunity, especially since the technology now exists and we have already purchased some gold. We have gold that's vaulted, audited, secured, insured. We've already tested that system. We've been beta testing all the technology we showed you today. We believe that we are on the cusp of launching something that could truly revolutionize the way the world thinks of money.
No, I love it.
How do,
This is brilliant, guys. Very brilliant.
how do you cut the tiny little coins?
Well, first of all, we do it digitally, right?
Uh, I thought there was like lasers.
No,
Are you talking about the tokens or the physical one
anyway,
10 pounds
Dave, you cooked me.
coins? Because
Physical.
No,
yeah, we
Oh,
don't cut those. Those are U.S.
yeah,
gold minted
yeah,
eagles.
Dave, yeah, he's tactile. Dave's like, how do you actually cut it and press it?
and
Yeah.
yeah, like if it's super thin, are
I
you
love that it's
losing
back.
more than you get?
No, so what I want to do though, let's wrap this up because I want to keep it tight because I want to forward this to people.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
I love the concept. Sorry, I've been so busy. And I think some of the 5 or 6 guys that I just hung out with Dave, will probably be interested. So I'm just, like I said, I'm just going to send it to them right now.
Yeah, I think we've done what we need.
All
We're all
right.
watching
And
UFC
I do
fights
want to
today.
point out one more
Like I
thing.
said, I'm trying to close. Go ahead.
We are also a gold seller, of course, right? So if you meet an investor that you want to bring on board, and they're risk averse about buying the stock, because of course, what does that own? It owns things like those transaction fees. That's how we're going to be making our money. Let's say they're like, no, I just want the most secure thing possible. I think the most amazing thing here is we actually have a sliding scale of options to meet any appetite for risk. We can literally
Well, that's great. That's good.
Right? We can just buy gold coins and insure them and vault them, and literally they cannot lose their coins. They own gold, and that's the most secure thing they could ever have. Or they could buy stock, whatever their appetite is.
How about
We
silver?
believe that we can meet that.
Because we do make a small profit whenever anyone buys the tokens. So if someone wanted to come in and buy $10 million worth of tokens, they will own the gold coins that they bought, and they'll
that's brilliant.
And we will have made a profit on that transaction, which we can use to fund
purchase more.
Yeah, more exactly.
No, that's brilliant. Yeah, that's brilliant.
Right. So the $1 million we're looking for in the next month or so is not the end of the vision. It's just some seed capital for marketing purposes. If someone wants to put in 10 million and they want to be absolutely certain that it is safe, we can do that too.
No, I love that. You guys are going to do great. Like I said, I feel really good about being able to send this to everyone.
And we are talking, as mentioned earlier, we are in active discussions with foreign governments, and I'll just tell you, with certain people in the U.S. government.
That's great. No, like I said, this is a need. I mean, everyone knows it. It's been talked about in my economics classes since I was, since I ever started learning about how money and everything works.
Right.
Like you said, most people hide from it, right? It's the ugly sister that you don't want to talk about, but everyone knows that she's there anyway. Sorry, I'm a comic too. I talk.
Thank you for taking the time with us today, guys.
No, this is great. Like I said, I'm going to forward this to everyone that me and Dave know right away. And then, like I said, you guys have already stressed the urgency, and hopefully some of them will talk to me by tomorrow or Monday.